care. I don't care, girl. He's still cute. Yes.
Walked in this party and these girls looking at me. Skinny jeans on and you know my head nappy. Hey, okay. I want y'all to do this dance now. Juju on that.
Okay, welcome. Yes, this is Captain America. It is December 12th, 2016, and I'm about ready to save the world. So hope you guys are ready for this. All right, so stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but yo, I'm making money, see, so I can't remember that. All right, so here goes. We are going to learn how to use point slope form. Point slope form. I don't know if you guys remember this, but you're gonna have to access an old memory from way back here and move it up to here. An old file, move it up here. And it looks like something like this. And it goes y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that. But this is used when you're given a point. For instance, the point 2, 3, and the slope, let's say it's 5 over 2, okay? So essentially this 2 is your x1, this 3 is your y1. 2 is your first x value, 3 is your first y value. So here we go, y1 is your first y value. Well, your first y value is 3. x1 is your first x value, which is 2, and your m is 5 over 2. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this down here. Y minus 3 equals 5 halves times x minus 2. Now, this is in point slope form. Now we're going to turn this into slope intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. That means we've got to get y all by itself. Well, this y has a minus 3 next to it, so we're going to have to add 3 to both sides here in a second. But before we start, Curtis, what's 5 halves times x? I'm being serious right now, Curtis. I need to know what 5 halves times x is. I can hear you, so go ahead. You can tell me. What's 5 halves times x? Yes. Okay, 5 halves x. That is correct. 5 halves x, and then 5 halves times negative 2 is negative 5, because the 2's just go away, so it's just negative 5. So we still have our y minus 3 equals 5 halves x minus 5. Now we've got to move this minus 3 over to the other side, so I think you guys all know how to do this. We've done this a million times. We add 3 to both sides. Y equals 5 halves x minus 2, because negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Now, so that is your first learning target of the day. We just wanted to review, access some of that old memory bank of yours. So we turned an equation, given a point and a slope, we used point slope form, and then we put the numbers in, x1 and y1, and then we put it into slope intercept form. So now we still have our slope, and we have our y-intercept. It's where the line crosses through the y-axis. And so to graph this really quick, this goes through negative 2. That's your y-intercept. And you go up 5 and over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. So y-intercept, up 5 and over 2. That's another point, and it just goes like that. Okay? There you go. Learning target number 1 complete. Learning target number 2. Number 2 is that we're going to build our own piecewise function. So, for instance, I'm just going to make up a story off the top of my head. Let's say I take off out my back door, okay, and I am walking 3 miles per hour. And I'm heading up to the mountains because I want to go do a little fishing, okay? And I'm going to go, actually my hike is 9 miles away from my house, so I'm going 3 miles per hour. That's my constant rate of speed, because I'm pretty fast. Got my fishing rod, got my bear spray, got food, everything. Here we go. So, building ourselves a little input output. 0, 0 just means after 0 hours, I'm 0 distance away from my house. If I walk for 1 hour, I'm 3 miles away from my house. That's 3 miles for every 1 hour. So that means that's 6 miles in 2 hours, 9 miles in 3 hours. And at 9 miles, I've arrived at my destination. Maybe it's this really cool pond, catching lots of fish. But after 3 hours, I should arrive, okay? I've gone 9 miles. So this is our first piece of our piecewise function, okay, that describes my little trip. So if you come over here, I'll turn this over to my graph. Check it out. So time is always your x-axis. Distance is your y-axis. And remember that time is independent, just like all of you. Independent is real simple. It just means that you don't really need anything else to function. You can function on your own. Like time, it just keeps going. It doesn't need any assistance. So hopefully, by the time you guys graduate, you can get out into this world, and we've taught you all the skills to become independent, meaning that you can function on your own without any kind of assistance. So remember that when you're graphing functions, especially in science, your independent variable, like time, will always be on your x-axis. Your dependent variable, distance, that depends on how much time, our distance depends on how much time we've been hiking. So it is considered your dependent variable because it depends on the time. My miles depend on the time I've been hiking. So here we go. So I've plotted my point, 0, 0. After 1 hour, I've gone 3 miles. After 2 hours, I've gone 6. After 3 hours, I've gone 9. Okay. So now, I've arrived at my destination. So now I got another piece. So now I break out the old fly rod, hooking all these fish, raking them in. Oh man, I might as well just grab my rake, right, and start raking the fish in, because really no difference. Okay, so here we go. So now here I've fished for 2 hours in one spot, and I'm still 9 miles away from my house because I stopped. So if you look at this graph, okay, after my 4th hour, okay, after 3 hours I stopped. After the 4th hour, I'm still 9 miles away. After the 4th hour, or the 5th hour, I'm still 9 miles away. So this little bench just means I've sat there for 2 hours fishing, okay? You see how I'm putting a story together to create this, what they call a piecewise function? Okay, so then, let's say, I'm done fishing. Gosh, I've got my limit on trout. And gosh, I've been away from the house now for what, 5 hours, and I decided to start hiking again because somebody told me up and over this hill there's some really good fishing, but there's a lot of bears on this hike. So I thought, well, okay, I better take it nice and easy, go slow, get my head on a swivel, look left, look right. I guess I'm looking up and down, aren't I? But you gotta imagine left and right. Actually, that'd be your right and left, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm looking left and right for all these bears, making sure I'm not going to be attacked. I got my bear spray ready, but I'm going real slow. And maybe I'm going 1 mile an hour, okay? But I'm getting further and further away from my house. So here's what I have. I'm going 1 mile an hour. So check this out. From 5 to 6, okay, I've gone 1 mile in 1 hour. So 1 mile an hour. After another hour, 7 hours, I've gone 11 miles. So now I'm 11 miles away from my house. So if you look at the graph, I've gone 1 mile in 1 hour. 1 mile in 1 hour. 1 mile an hour. That's your slope. That's your constant rate of speed. But I only do this for 2 hours, okay? And I arrive at my little lake. I'm like, wow, this is pretty nice. So I cast my rod in there and I'm fishing, not doing real good, but I'm just sitting there now from my 8th hour all the way to my 7th hour all the way to my 11th hour. Okay, I haven't moved. I haven't budged. I'm still 11 miles away from my house. So there you can see I'm fishing for another 4 hours. Let's say, gosh, I don't know, I'm just making up a story as I go. After 4 hours of fishing, boom, bear comes out of the woods. I'm like, oh snap, gotta get out of here. Throw my Captain America suit on, and I start hauling ass down the mountain. And I am going, it looks like, at a rate of 5 miles per hour. So right here, so if you want to look back at my my function, my input output, so so I went from 11 to 6. Well, that's 5 miles in 1 hour. So I'm really trucking. Hopefully that bear is kind of slow, because 5 mile an hour, I guess, isn't real fast, is it? Probably about as fast as I can go. So again, hopefully that bear is pretty slow. So anyway, so from 11 to 12 hours, I've gone 5 miles. I'm going 5 miles an hour. So then I go another 5 miles. So I go from 6 miles. I'm getting closer and closer to home here, as you can see. And another 5 miles, that's another hour. So it looks like after I graph this over here on my graph, check it out, check it out. So after 12 or after 11 miles, okay, I'm still 11 miles away. So after 12 hours, I would be 6 miles away. So over 12 up 6. Okay. After 13 hours, I'm 1 mile away. Okay, so after 13, I'm 1 mile away. I'm getting really close to being home now. So it looks like after about just a little more than 13 hours, I should be back home. Okay, so check this out. We go back to my input output. Okay, we're going 5 miles an hour here. So at 13 and some change, I don't know how many minutes, maybe about 1/5 of an hour. So I guess 12 minutes that would be. So 13 hours and 12 minutes, I will actually arrive home. But really the concept or the key idea here is that this is a function. We clearly have inputs and we have outputs, and they're all unique. Okay, the distance is constantly changing, and this is a function. If we run the vertical line test, if I run a vertical line through here and sweep it through, it'll never cross this graph in more than one place. That means it's a function. Okay, so and this is called a piecewise function because it has a total of 1, 2, sorry, go back here. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces, or 5 different pieces to the story. Okay, so this function describes a story from the beginning to the end, and it is 6B's fishing excursion and being chased by a bear. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of made it up off the top of my head, and you guys now are going to go ahead and make up sort of your own. You're going to have to come up with some kind of a scenario on this right here, okay? 4.1 task, and then when you're done with the task, you will then start the RSG. There's 2 pages. It actually goes pretty dang fast. It's a simple little unit here. We're starting 4. Okay, this unit 4 is actually quite simple. It's a lot easier than the last one. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about domain and range later. Domains are your X's, range is all your Y's in a case like this. But we'll get there sooner or later. So in a case like this that describes a story, our domain would be from 0 hours to 13 hours and 12 minutes. That's our domain. Our range is from 0 miles to 11 miles. It doesn't go any further than 11 miles. So remember, domain are all your X's, ranges are all your Y values. Hey, thank you guys for being awesome for Mr. Higbee. I'm sure he appreciates that, and I can't wait. I'm going to come back. I'm going out to see what the heck's wrong with my feet. They're starting to really wear down. They're tired. I think I've just from all the pounding, all the hiking, all the whatever. They say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Well, let me tell you, carrying 225 pounds around your entire life after 40 years, I suppose, really wears a guy down. Dang it. So anyway, I got to get that checked out, see if I can figure out how to prevent all this pain. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Anyway, until tomorrow.
Okay, we knuckin' and buckin' and ready to fight. I got my cousin, he with me, and got Lizzie on the right. And I'm a Detroit baby, and I don't know nothing else besides.